Hello, my name is Brant. The day is August 1st, 2020, and my title of my talk is Why is it important to be honest or to be truthful, to not tell lies? Um, I think it's critical that we do not tell lies because they lead to more lies and more ways to um, actually to lead yourself away from truth. Um, I'm going to give you an example of something that took place in my life many years ago, and I did some things that were wrong, and I had to learn some lessons in life about it. This took place roughly in 2004, if I recall, 5. Um, I was out of work. I was working maybe one job, not making a lot of money. I had to move back home, which was a big deal for me at over 40 years old. And I had gone through some really serious things in my life a couple of years before. I lost my job. I was in some debt, not a whole lot of debt. Decided to make a change and pursue something that I thought would be well worth it, and that was to pursue a master's degree in church history at a seminary, and that I would eventually get a doctorate and be able to teach in a college setting. This was my goal at that point. But things didn't work out the way I thought they would. A lot of things. This was a very trying time for me. The time that I had to have surgery on my knee, I tore it up. I wasn't able to walk like I should. This is before this, again, 2 or 3 years. I had surgery, and then I had complications with, I feel like some drugs that were taking place in my were in my taking, and it had affected me, and some horrendous things happened to me. And so I wasn't able to complete seminary, and I was at a low point in my life. So I was involved in politics at a local level, and I was given some money to put up billboards, and I was given I think a sum of about $1,500. And I put up some billboards, but I also kept a partial amount of that money also. Someone entrusted me to do what I said I'd do, and I didn't do it. I chose to keep some of it because I was in a desperate situation and I needed the money. This is why it's important that you not be in debt. It's why it's important to live not to live beyond your means. And so 4 or 5 years later, some major things happened again, and I came under the realization that I'd done wrong, and I had to make those things right. And so I went back to those who I did wrong, and I clearly wanted to make things right with the person I took money from. And I'd already paid some money back to the seminary that I owed at that point. And I also paid back some issues with doctor bills. Some people forgave me, and which was a blessing. And you really don't know how you respond until you're put in a certain situation. So my world came crashing down. But I was able to get some money by selling some items that was in the warehouse that I had, and I decided to try to take care of those debts. And so I contacted the guy who I took the money from for the billboards, and I was trying to help him to recall who I was, which was about 5 years later, 5 or 6 years later. And I told him I wanted to give him his money back to him. I wanted to make reconciliation. I wanted to. I felt as though if I wanted God to forgive me, then I must take that step. I must make it right. Not to ask God to say, hey, forgive me, but to make it right with the person who I did something wrong to. And I had been blessed in order some of this money to make it right. And so I was talking with him, and I just said, look, I can pay you half of it now, and I can make some payments, in the next few months, and hopefully pay it all off. Actually, I think it was around $1,500 I owed him. So I basically had about half of that. And I knew that simply as I needed to make that right with him. And I don't know if he knew who I was. And I just asked him simply as, could I come over and give him the money? And he says, no, don't worry about it. And I don't even know if he understood. Reconciliation means simply you make things right, folks. You just make it right. Easy way out is simply, just like I just said earlier, simply, just forgive them, ask God to forgive me, such and such. And still, I had this belief still that, that it was their God, and simply is that I was a sinner and all that kind of stuff. But I did actually begin to see some things that didn't make sense. I'd already pulled out of the church by 2005 and 6 and realized it was just a joke. But I didn't yet quite understand the issue with God and the church and all this stuff yet, and where I'm at now. And so I decided to reconcile this with this man. And it's for example, if I borrow someone's lawnmower and they allow me to use it, then I think it simply is that I return it and that I put gas in it. And if I mess it up, something happens to it, I fix it, or I give them another one. That's reconciliation, folks. That's reconcile, making it right. And I come to the realization simply is that I've told many lies in my life. And that I wasn't going to lie to people anymore. Because if I was going to lie to people, that would keep me in darkness, and I would never see the light of truth. And so if I lie to people and practice it, then I would be lied to myself. You see, you can get away with a lot of things, but eventually you have to pay the piper. And so it's so critical for you to understand simply is that if you stay in darkness, you'll never find the light. You'll stay in darkness. You won't find the truth. You just won't. That's my thinking. I don't have no desire to lie to people. If I tell people I'm going to do something, my word is true. I do it. I do it the best that I can. And critical in this age with people and what's happening, um, people borrow money, are in debt, paying mortgages. They're not even close to paying their mortgages off, which is another joke. It's a way of robbing people. The best thing to do simply is either build it yourself or save up enough money to actually build it yourself. Not be dependent upon the bankers who are willing to destroy you no matter what. And I'd gone through those things. I'd actually had some issues simply of trying to pay off some debts. And I was very fortunate also that those debts, I borrowed money. My mom gave me money, and I paid it back, and then I paid my mom back without interest, which was a blessing when you think about it. Simply is that I probably wouldn't have gotten a loan, and then I would have had to pay interest on that loan in order to pay, and so it would have been much harder for me to deal with. It's a valuable lesson in my life because I had to live my life somewhat frivolously in the past, and I did wrong. And so your word has to be true. That's all you have. There's no. If you con other people, you're going to con yourself. You get what you deserve. A lot of times. Sometimes in this age of Pisces, we still are given grace and mercy. But I had to learn a valuable lesson simply is that what I was doing was wrong, and I had to make reconciliation. It's critical. It's so easy nowadays to simply as people walk away and do people wrong, and they never make it reconcile. They never reconciliate it with somebody else. If they owe somebody money or treat people wrongly, they don't mean they're sorry. They're not. Their heart is not there. They don't seem to. They've gotten away with it so much that they no longer have a contrite heart. That they are willing to just use people and hurt people. So they never grow up. And I want to point out simply that many of you have the opportunity to find the truth, and you're going to hold on to those beliefs in your life, and it's going to be detrimental. It's going to be very detrimental. You have the opportunity now, with the times there are, to seek the truth if you desire to. But if you don't, you don't. It won't, it's ask, seek, and knock. Jesus speaks about it. Ask, seek, and knock at the door. But if you're not willing to pursue the truth, then you have decided that that you know it all. You know it all. And those that know it all, their hearts are closed. They're not open-hearted. They're not open-minded to seek after the truth. And so people, in the next few years, things are going to get rough here on this planet. And we're going to all find out what we're made of. And if we truly are who we say we are. And I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't. But we're going to have to do what's right. And so it's important for you to understand simply is that if you lie to other people, you cheat other people, you will be cheated and lied to also. You will be manipulated. You will be fooled by other people. That's part of the blindness that takes place, is that when you do others wrong, others will do wrong to you. Clearly, I've seen it in my life. And I've been fooled, but I fooled other people too. So I kind of got what I deserved. And some people say, well, is that part of karma? I don't know if it's part of karma or not. I'm not going to expound upon that. All I'm going to explain to you is just what is taking place in my own life. And tests were brought into my life, and simply as I had to decide if I was going to be who I was and be true to myself, or if I was going to continue to lie to myself and be deceived. And it was plain for me that simply as if I didn't choose to do what was right, or choose to make things reconcile with others, then I would be in darkness today. That's the simple truth. I would be in darkness. And so I wouldn't see the light. I wouldn't understand what's going on around us. And so I would be fighting and being caught up in the ego type of thing. Now think about it. Think about it here in the big picture here, folks. You have the opportunity. You live here in this country. Many don't have that opportunity. It's a lot harder. Especially those who are in the poorer areas of the world. Especially those in what I call understand spiritual truth. And mainly that's with the English language. Now, English language is spoken far more than any other language in the world. Maybe the only other language might be the Chinese, that might be either first or second. That would have been 100 years ago or more. Would definitely have been more to do with the Chinese than the English language. But that's changed because of America being an English country has promoted itself and become an industrial power and an economic power that countries that want to do business with America had to learn to speak English. That's changing again as we're seeing a new power coming on the world stage, and that is China. But there are others in other countries that don't have that opportunity. And so, do you want to ride around again in reincarnation? Do you want to spend another 2,500 years or more and not even see the light at that time? I mean, no one ever is eliminated from this. They're always giving grace, the ability to eventually find the truth. So the creator or the universe, whatever you want to call it, designer, has allowed the opportunity for all people to come to the truth, but yet doesn't force its will upon others. It's still your choice to make whatever decision you want to make. So it's clear to me, some of those things that took place to me 20 years ago, which had enormous impact upon me as a human being. I came to the recognition of simply as I needed to change. And that was to make things right with others. So I've been on the other side. I know that my grandparents would always say, all you have is your word. And actually, that's what people judge you on. Are you true to who you say you are and what you do? It's easy to cop out. I say, well, I couldn't do this and that type of thing, such and such, and then continue that process. But when you continue to lie to people and mistreat people and continue to do all these things, it comes back to you, or else you're kept in darkness and you never see the light. So I hope that you will glean from what I've shared with you tonight, and that you would seek wisdom and seek truth and eliminate the things that actually keep you from getting to the truth. Stop giving in to what I call a stumbling block that keeps you stumbling over and over and over again and not coming to the truth. I hope that that others will hear this with open ears and clear sight. Thank you. Have a good night.